اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد الفاتح لما أغلق والخاتم لما سبق ناصر الحق بالحق وهادي إلى صراطك المستقيم وعلى آله حق قدره مقداره العظيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. صلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما. الحمد لله رب العالمين. أفضل الصلاة وتم التسليم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. ورضي الله تعالى عن السادة التابعين علماء عاملين وأئمة أربعين مجتهدين مقلديهم إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to another The Soullutionz podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Imam, Imam Malik Robinson, and Ustad Brother Saleh, Abdul Mujeeb. Tonight's discussion is about am I supposed to struggle even after marriage? And this is a very important topic. This is one of the topics that we as Muslim husbands and Muslim wives, we tend to come to the point in our recollection that we're not supposed to continue to struggle after marriage or while we're married, when our whole life is struggle. It was struggle in our creation. It was struggle in our birth. It was struggle in our mothers conceiving us and conceiving us. It was struggle in our mothers carrying us for 9 months. It was struggle in our delivery. Some of us was being delivered after within 23 hours, 24 hours of labor. Some of us was carried for 12 months instead of 9. Like myself, I was carried for 12 months instead of 9. Don't believe me? Ask my mother. But it's still it was struggle. You know what I mean, hardship. And one thing we don't realize is that as married couples, and especially newlyweds, or I don't consider someone who's been married numerous amount of times to be newlyweds as soon as they get married again, or take another wife for the men, or a sister remarrying, either after being divorced or widowed. As you've been through this process before, you've been inside the guidelines of marriage according to the Sharia. So I don't consider people like that to be newlyweds. But however, it's a hardship in getting to know someone, right? It's a hardship in crushing your nafs and your desires to actually, actually gear yourself towards trying to be not just a good husband or a good wife, but a good brother and a good sister in Al-Islam. Because one thing that we fail to realize is that as we have rights on each other as husband and wife, but we also have rights on each other as brothers and sisters in Islam. So it's always going to be a struggle, and most marriages are ego driven from the wife's side and ego driven from the husband's side. And there's also selfishness that's intertwined, but as it relates to both. The husband is a little selfish and the wife is a little selfish. The only time the husband is not selfish is when he has more than one wife. For a man to has to be successful in polygyny, he has to be totally selfless in order for it to be successful, because he has 2 or 3 or 4 women that he has to please after his pleasure, his intention is to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and follow the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This the way that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was with his wives. That's a sunnah that's very hard for any husband to actually fulfill and obtain. Why? Because the Prophet ﷺ was the best to his wives, and he was the best among us from his to his wives. Even however, he's not among us, but the reality of his sunnah and how he dealt with his wives, and how, you know what I'm saying, he was kind and gentle and forbearing, extremely forbearing, um, and patient and tolerant with his wives. You know, it has, I don't think it has been any man that has pardoned his wives more than the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So even that for the husband himself is struggle. For the husband himself is struggle. But this topic is not just geared towards the husband, is also geared towards the wives, because many of us, we look at marriages, we have to have this fairy tale idea, this Disneyland type of fairy tale idea about how marriage is supposed to go. The white picket fence, the two-car garage, the two children, the boy and the girl, the big house on the hill, or the big house on the hill, at the top of a cliff with the ocean view at the bottom. I don't think nobody want a house like that. However, this is the reality that many of us look at how marriage is supposed to go, and that's not how marriage is, right? Our time and our life on this earth is temporary. Our main goal is Jannah, and our goal in being married to someone is being married to them in Jannah as well. So there's a lot of patience and tolerance on both parts, and it's struggle on both parts. It's struggle as it relates to the wife, and the struggle as it relates to the husband. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي قَبَدٍ, that, and this is in Surah Balad, Surah Al-Balad, Surah 90, I believe ayat 7 or ayat 8. However, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, surely we have created man in hardship or in struggle. And the tafsir related to this ayat, it talks about how the hardship in his conception, the hardship in the mother carrying him for 9 months, the hardship in her delivery, the hardship in raising the child, the hardship in nurturing the child, the hardship in general life. You know, so if you look at this perspective, that you've experienced being in what you call a successful marriage or what you call a horrible marriage, there's a scale that is on. A successful marriage doesn't mean you don't divorce, right? Doesn't mean that you're married for 50 or 60 years. The thing with being married, being in a 50 or 60-year marriage, you know what's obtained in them marriages? A whole lot of tolerance, whole lot of forbearance, whole lot of patience. And you know what else? That we always make the claim that if you see these, you break away from, it's a whole lot of red flags in them 50 and 60-year marriages. You don't believe me? Ask your great grandmother if she's still living. Ask your great grandfather if he's still living. It's a whole lot of patience and tolerance that they did. But the one thing that is different from theirs and ours is that we have to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in our marriages. One thing that we do not do, we do not fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in our marriages. We do not make the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam the focal point and the source on how our behavior is in these marriages. So even in that, there's struggle. Even in that, there's struggle. You know what I'm saying? Trying to maintain the guidelines of the Sharia in our marriage. I was told one time by an ex-wife, and we was married at the time. You know what I'm saying? She had said, I can't stand you. Every time we have an issue, you always bring something from the religion that addresses it. My answer was, we Muslim. What other means do we have to address an issue other than what Allah Ta'ala and His Messenger has established? And that came from during my particular stage in my life, to where my mind state, I'm consistently striving and struggling to try to think like a Muslim, or think like not just think like a Muslim, but trying to be a believer. And that was my test. And it's still my test to this day. It's still my test to this day. Now, at her time, at that particular time, that was her test as well. But there's no other method, no other way to deal with things. Nothing that can provide a solution in life other than the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the solution in life. All we have to do is live it and practice it and implement it and internalize it. And even in doing that, it's struggle. It's not marriage is not supposed to be easy. Anything that's good, anything that's good, that's on the path to you obtaining the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is not gonna come with easy. It's not gonna be easy. It's not gonna come with ease. It's gonna always come with hardship. The Prophet ﷺ was showed the paradise, and he was when he seen the paradise, he said that all of his ummah will want it. But once he was shown what surrounds it, he said no one would reach it, because it's surrounded by hardships and difficulties and calamities and all of this that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tests his servant with, to be able to be worthy of obtaining his pleasure. That's the key thing, being worthy of obtaining Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's pleasure. I don't care how much lip service we can give. I don't care how much lip service we can give. What's the proof in the pudding is that you put this into action. You act on it. Not just act on it, but you embody it, and you love this. You have a yearning and desire to do this to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Subhanallah. I done been talk for almost 15 minutes, and ain't nobody came on yet. Let me see. Let me wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I don't know who that is. It's a Facebook user. But wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yes, sir. Abdul Hakim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Man, take me off I don't know what it is. I can't never reach you when I call you. Always go to voicemail, but you get right through to me when you call me or when I text you. So take me off undisturbed, brother, so I can get through to you. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. What's happening? We gotta get you on here, safe for hop. You know what I'm saying? We gotta get you on here, man. Nasruddin. Subhanallah, man. You know what I'm saying? I've been talking to Amir Khalil about you, man, trying to get you on here as a guest, inshallah. But however, you know what I'm saying? We have to be steadfast, and we have to realize that it's always going to be a struggle. You look at how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala deals with increasing the husband's wealth and restricting the husband's wealth. One of the jewels that a wife had dropped on me one time, and I didn't pay. I wasn't really paying attention to the jewel that she dropped, but she was absolutely right. She said, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala removes muhibba from the marriage, that the barakah is removed along with it. And if you know, muhibba is when Allah Ta'ala removes love, when He removes love and concern and fikr from the marriage, from the wife and the husband, that He removes the barakah. The barakah in the marriage, only Allah. We don't know what Allah Ta'ala, what wife Allah Ta'ala put the barakah with, and we don't know what husband Allah Ta'ala put the barakah with. One thing about barakah that you could tell that is barakah in the marriage is not how is the barakah is not based off of how smooth how y'all get along. The barakah is based off of how each one of y'all grow with each other, and y'all increase each other's deen. Y'all deen increase when y'all with each other, and y'all have the y'all have multitude of resources when you work on a multitude of you have small small resources, but Allah Ta'ala has the barakah in it to where the small resources become big. The same thing like with your wealth. Between the both of y'all may make $50,000 a year, but Allah Ta'ala put barakah in y'all wealth to where that $50,000 a year is like $500,000 a year. All right, you know what I'm saying? That's one definition of the barakah. Another definition of the barakah is that even though you may be an ugly dude, but when your wife look at you, you're pleasing to her in her sight. She may not be a very well attractive woman, but when you look at her, her beauty is pleasing to your sight. You know what I'm saying? Everything else that's related to y'all marriage and in y'all children, you know what I'm saying, it's pleasing. You know what I'm saying? And y'all able to move forward. Man, where these guys at, man? SubhanAllah. I've been talking for 20 minutes. It looked like we're gonna have to put the time back to 7 o'clock since we're going into the fall. And Ishad's coming in at 9:02 or whatever. No, people ain't sleep. They slow dragging. Well, alhamdulillah, rabbil alameen. I mean, this is gonna be a beautiful topic. I'm probably not gonna say too much after everybody come on. And inshallah, I gotta work in the morning, so I gotta get off here early. I'm not gonna talk for an hour, and then or 30 minutes, and then you know what I'm saying, and then just not get me any sleep. You know what I'm saying? People know this ain't a cut. This ain't a kutbah. This ain't a dars. It's not a lecture. This is a discussion, and it looks like I'm the only one that's on here talking about the topic. So I can't be having a discussion with myself. Where you at, Amir Khalil? Get on in here, man. Get off YouTube, man. You know what I'm saying? So alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. But yeah, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, laqad khalaqna al-insana fi kabad. This word kabad, Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu said concerning the phrase kabad that he was created while in hardship. Don't you see him? Then he mentioned his birth, and he mentioned the sprouting of his teeth. So when we look at this ayat, when we look at this ayat, this ayat is just what I had mentioned. What I mentioned earlier. This ayat is talking about development. His ayat is talking about development in life, development in progress, and that you know what I'm saying that you know what I'm saying it expounds on difficulty. You know what I'm saying. So there is no ease without difficulty. You know, so there is no ease without difficulty. So in that is struggle. I remember a time to where husbands, they fought for their marriage, wives, they fought for their marriage. Some stuff that's going to be mentioned in this discussion is going to be also related to next week's topic. Next week's topic may be real saucy. It may be real saucy, and it may shake a few people's feathers and upset a few people. But however, so if you look at the reality of it, the truth of it, and if we look at the truth of it, and you give some contemplation and some understanding, it may override your feelings and your nefs. However, you wait till next week for next week's topic. I mean, wait till next week. I ain't gonna give it up, but if you look at discussion, someone is gonna mention it. Someone is gonna mention some things, some points related to next topic. yes, sir. So this is without further ado, we have.
Don't try to go nowhere. Saleh, man. Stop trying to run off. What's up with y'all, man? Want to be the 2-minute talkers, but then knowing y'all deep. Like I'll talk to Saleh, right? Saleh and complains that, oh, y'all talk long. So what, we all supposed to sit here for like 5 minutes?
No,
it's what you do.
We supposed to come on all simultaneously at the same time.
We already talked about that. That don't exist.
Except for the one who has to share it to this page, share it to that page.
We already talked about that.
For that one
don't exist.
Come on last. And that's the one who brings the grand finale, because they talk the longest.
That don't exist. that don't even exist, man. It ain't no all 4 of us come on the same time. You see 3 of us. 1 week you see 2. That joint don't exist. Usually you started off. You can always depend on that. Me, I just had a late dinner tonight. That's all. I had to finish eating. So but I made it. But come on, man. Saleh just got married last night. That's why he ain't up here talking about marriage no more.
I ain't even gonna I ain't even gonna bust my brother out, man.
Hey, listen, man. You get a 3-day break. You get a 3-day break. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, man. He ain't acting like he honeymooning.
He absent right now, so he got to be on his honeymoon. But alhamdulillah, mabruk to the brother,
Mabruk, alhamdulillah, rabbil alameen.
I was listening to why you were talking.
That's good, because part of that struggle is my war getting on my case about when this nikah was gonna happen.
But I was listening while you were on. There's a lot of things that I was thinking about with regards to to marriage, and I don't want to just be able to identify the problems without also giving some sort of solution. I think one of our biggest problems is one, and people will be in denial all they want to, but we don't learn from Islam on how to be in a relationship. We still in the relationship of how we used to deal with people before Islam. That's the bottom line. A lot of our arguments that we create are from our non-Islamic practices. Some of the arguments we create. The whole thing about my rights, you can correct me if I'm wrong. We could take that joint back. Part of it was a lot of the conversion of the earlier Muslims. They were coming from that, Black Liberation Movement, Black Liberation Army, stuff like that. So our rights was like a heavy part of the jargon. And so then what happened is we didn't even peep game, because there was a period in that Black Power struggle where the men were getting incarcerated or they were getting killed. And the women were left over to run, some of the movement, even part of the BLA, the Black Panther and all that. A lot of them started converting to Islam. And for some reason, immediately, it just became like a gunfight between the husband and wife. that will marry, especially the indigenous in America. It just became a gunfight. Poverty has always been a problem. A lot of this topic is driven because poverty exists. Poverty has always been a problem. Our problem is we don't know how to accept our reality. Sometimes we're desiring, looking for things that we just can't afford. And people do things as such, desire what other people got. And Islam teaches you against, having that eye looking at what other people possess. The only thing you're supposed to look at in that particular light that someone else has is knowledge, right? You don't want them to lose the thing that they got. But a lot of times we're always staring at someone else, whether it's someone that you know personally or whether you're watching television. Think about it. There's more Muslims now that are, heading towards cosmetic surgery, getting BBLs and things of that nature. And even men are cheering these women on because they want them to look like the women that they drool over on TV unlawfully, right? So this has always played a part. This always played a part. So, the reality is that we, and part of the being angry about being in a economic disadvantage is that a lot of times you ain't got no hustle, you don't have no motivation, and so now you're always angry, always upset, always, it's just always about what you don't got. You're never optimistic. You never talk about the ni'mah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's something I know that a lot of Muslims, like, I'll give you an example. You remember this back in the day, Muhammad? If you came in the mansion, let's say you were a person, you was in the fashion, you could afford it, right? You remember when a person would emphasize the price of your shoes and then start comparing the mansion and talking about the sadaqah, how empty the sadaqah box is? He'd be like, yo, I'm the one that's putting money in the sadaqah box. I don't know what everybody else doing, but me and my nice shoes is putting money in the sadaqah box. Then the joker get a job, the one who used to critique you all the time, always talk real greasy. He gets a job, and what's the first thing he do? He get the same shoes you got, right?
Hey,
because now he has the ability to do it, huh?
You know what that topic remind me of? I remember a time when everybody in the Jamaat had a pair of Bucks. Now, right. I think Bucks was Clark's. That's what Bucks was. But okay. every back in the day, everybody had a pair of Bucks. Now in Chicago, Bucks was normally the shoes that the Black Gangster Disciples wore. Mm-hmm. But the Arukans, all of us wore Bucks. So every time we'll come to Juma, everybody had to put a name tag on their shoes to know which shoes is theirs.
Right.
But this was it was like that wasn't the only pair of shoes that everybody could afford. You know what I'm saying? It was just a choice of shoes that everybody wanted to wear. And back in the day, them joints used to be warm back in the 80s. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Except for them brutal cold days was 20 below zero with 40-degree wind chill factor at 50 miles per hour. You know what I mean? Yeah, feeling like it's like 60 below zero.
Yeah, I don't know what
I'm saying? So, you know what I mean? But, it was brothers used to come with mink coats on and all this type of stuff. But the thing is, we didn't ever have a problem with the sadaqah box being empty, though, during that time.
But this the thing that people now, your lifestyle is your lifestyle. You build it, right? But people, people are, somewhat immature economically, because if you desire this thing, right? And you'll spend all your money. People spend their rent money just to get a phone. People will pay their cell phone bill before they pay rent, right? That's the reality we living in now. People will spend all their money on a phone versus putting money in, investing in something or something of that nature. You have to have that determination. The complainer is always the person that has no hustle, right? The complainer, like even like a person who always complaining now, he's always complaining about, he's arrogant. He's arrogant. Everybody's ignorant. Look at me, I'm the sheikh. I should be the one up there in the forefront. This is absolute arrogance and madness. So imagine this same attitude. You take on the same attitude in the marriage. Now the thing is about the man always puffing his chest, right? About he being the man in the family. It's because most of the time Black men don't get a respect anyway. And the only ones that, only other black men that talk that, that husky talk like, yeah, these brothers ain't on it, is brothers who already got money, got cash flow coming in, right? The problem is the mentality of that man that's not in a good situation, right? And if he ain't got no grind, he ain't got no hustle to him, then he's gonna stay in that situation, right? Problem is when you have a wife that doesn't respect you, that marriage goes nowhere. That's where you start making resentful remarks towards each other. You have fist fights, right? Think about it. A man hitting a woman, he's at his lowest point with her. He can't get no higher. That's it, right? A woman will beat you down verbally, take the life out of you. Most men that are successful, whatever level they consider their success, is usually they're driven, they're self-motivated. They're self-motivated. They don't even look for nothing from their family, not even a praise. They just continue to do the work, right? And usually you have to take on that type of attitude because you're doing the work and you look for your recognition from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? This is just the reality. I'm telling you the truth. If Allah blesses you with women with good character, that's encouraging and motivating, that is a ni'mah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't look at it as a production or something out of your, of your own doing, but look at it as a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because why? Allah ta'ala tells you that if you're grateful to him, then Allah do what? He'll increase you in that. He'll increase you in that blessing that you're grateful for. Right? So there's a lot of times, this is why we don't get the benefit out of it. The other thing is that we have to carry the same vigor and the resilience that we have to argue whether the Ash'aris and the Maturidis versus the Salafis are the better. Is the same thing you have to start to understand in order to increase your iman. Allah Ta'ala is the one who gives poverty, right? And he also enriches a person. And from what I learned in life, no person ever remains stagnant. Look at Abu Hurairah, radiallahu ta'ala anhu. When the Prophet ﷺ was alive, he was amongst the few of the poorest companions of the Prophet ﷺ. Remember, there's a hadith about him with the what was that battle? The battle. Subhanallah, I can't remember the name of it right now. I think it was the Khandaq, whatever it was. The battle. They were very scarce in resources, and they were passing milk around to each other. Remember that? And Abu Hurairah dogged it. Everybody just kept passing to the next. He just gulped it, like, this is
battle
being in
the conduct.
The conduct, right? This is where you're struggling right now, right? But after the death of the Prophet ﷺ, Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu was so wealthy. And remember, when Umar was the Khalifa, he started the IRS. He started auditing people's money to make sure Amirs wasn't stealing from the Beit Mal, right? So your situation never stays the same, but it will remain stagnant if you're that person. And this is where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he questioned a man about the one who's being taken care of by someone else. He said that person that's taking care of you is better than you, because you always looking and have your hand out. These were the motivated days. These were the days you used to be motivated, right? Now it's not like that Now it's not like that. And because now you see more of the Pharaonic scheme, where the Pharaonic scheme, the oppressive nature of Pharaon is he elevates the women and minimize or deplete the men, right? And so now you'll start seeing things. And you even see a lot of our men desire, because a man, most men don't have custody of their children, right? That's number one. It's always left on a woman. Most of us men, we just pack up and go. Now, with Islam, it's either two ways. Either one, you're going to have custody of the children, or two, you're basically responsible for that whole child's well-being, and your wife is there, or your ex-wife is there to manage it, right? The moment she gets married, the custody is supposed to transfer, right? Because no other man is supposed to raise your child. Not like that. Not while you're living, right? We're not even thinking in those terms. Many of us are comfortable having a child that another man is raising, right? Most of it, and sometimes too, you have to be honest and attribute to this as well, which is part of the self-inflicted struggle that we have. Some women are so disgusted and however with their breakup, that they don't want the actual father of them children, to father them, so they go out and look for a stepdad. Man, ain't it stepdaddy season coming up? Ain't that what the ladies say? Stepdaddy season, gray sweatpants and all that stuff.
Man,
Right?
it's always stepdaddy season.
So, but the thing is, this is the crazy part. We may make light of the situation and joke about it, but this is really people's philosophies. So, really, the question has to be, what type of mind state you have. If you have this dusty, this dusty ninja type of mentality, then you're going to continue the dusty ninja legacy, right? And the men have to want to have to step up. All that poking your chest out, talking about men ain't men no more. We already passed all that stuff. We already passed it, because a lot of these guys that's actually poking their chest and saying it, you neglected your sons anyway, and that's why they are the way they are, right? Yeah. You allowed them to be raised up in the manner that they're raised up. So you're just as guilty as the one who's keeping the child away. Keeping the child away. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing. That's the unfavorable thing about this particular topic. We're guilty for making our own struggle. We're guilty. We don't have foresight. Hey, brother, I can't hear. I don't know if there's some headphones, but you just got chopped up. So anyway, the struggle, that struggle is going to be there, and it will always exist as long as we don't turn to the deen. We have to turn to the deen and implement Islam, because some of us are coming. And think about it. The Prophet ﷺ, he was an orphan. His mother died. His father died. Right? He was raised up. He was raised up by his uncle and his grandfather. Right? With us, we have the same scenarios. A lot of our lack of parenting is for different reasons. But one of the things that every person that here grew up without a father figure, or if you don't know your father, right? Father figure, or you don't know your father, you should abhor, you should hate fornication and adultery. You should hate it. Because why are we in love with the thing that the thing that caused a disconnect in our beginning? We're in love with that lifestyle. There's more Muslims that are practicing that practice of fornication and adultery versus getting married. You should take honor in being married. And so a lot of times some of our problems stem from that, because we remove that barakah from our relationships by the way that we approach them early on in the beginning, right? You can't expect Allah Ta'ala to bless something that's haram. That's something, you know how asinine that is and ass backwards that is? That's as asinine as someone saying Bismillah over haram food. If you say Bismillah over haram food, you might say Bismillah over pork and eat it too. They're both prohibited, right? But once again, that sustenance, the struggle that you're going to have. Now, the thing with the struggle, the most valuable thing in the struggle is you being able to have contentment with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the most valuable thing that you can have in a struggle, is contentment, not money. Money does not make your struggle better, because however you got that money, you have to continue to get more money in order to keep it with a lifestyle that you're building, right? And then the moment you lose that money, then what happens is that lowers your morale in your relationship, because that's exactly how it happens. The morale goes out the window. Most people say things such as, well, if a man isn't providing, then he's not a man. That kills the morale. You can't take a person who's already in a low end and kick them out even lower, throw them in a hole even lower. That's like a man being married to a woman that have multiple children out of wedlock. It's a morale thing. You kicking her further in the hole if you keep reminding her of her past, right? But rather, what you want to do is you want to build that person up, where they build that morale, because for some reason, that mistake was committed. In some way, there was some lack of knowledge or some sort of ignorance, right? The same way that the person is always discontent, upset, angry, suicidal in theory, depressed all the time in philosophy, that they're good.
Hey, you know what I've always heard. Saying from people who had children out of wedlock. Children is a blessing.
That's true. But
Children
now
is a
you got it.
blessing.
Let's qualify that blessing though. You know what I mean? The child is a blessing. Yes, you can't take that away. But how the child is acquired, there's no blessing in that. There's no barakah. You see what I'm saying? So now, how do you turn that around? You recognize the blessing that Allah Ta'ala give you. If Allah Ta'ala give you,
What did Allah Ta'ala tell Shaitan minhu? He said, take part in the wealth and the children of the son of Adam. How does Shaitan take part in the wealth of the son of Adam? He takes part in the wealth by encouraging the whisper of earning haram income. How does he take part in the children of the son of Adam? By illicit sexual sexual relations outside of marriage. So every child that's born out of wedlock, Shaitan, Abdullahi who has a part in that. So there's no blessing in its consumption.
No, not at all. Because it's in disobedience. Nothing comes from disobedience and more disobedience. But however, that doesn't deter the fact that Allah Ta'ala, through His mercy, will send that woman particularly some, a husband that will help guide the children towards Islam.
And
because the actual biological father wasn't worried about that either.
And that doesn't mean because the child is born out of wedlock that the child is going to be wretched. The child, so the child can still be raised and groomed to be righteous and praiseworthy as well. You know what I'm saying? So we can't, you know what I'm saying, browbeat our sisters or our brothers because they made this mistake, or they continuously make this mistake, right? Because we're living in a time where there, you know what I'm saying, you may find a Muslim brother, all of his children are out of wedlock, and he got 10 of them. Or we may find a Muslim sister, all of her children are out of wedlock, and she has 10 of them. You know what I'm saying?
But this the problem. I'm gonna tell you, this the problem with that is, most of the time, those kind of situations, the father to the children, he doesn't never come back to make their life better. It's usually left with that woman, and then what happens is she's all heartbroken, going through these things with all of the agony that goes along with fornication, right? And then you happen to marry her, and then she doesn't know how to embrace and accept that. She still puts up that brick wall. She's still fronting like she got it all together. She's not coming in humble with her head down. Likewise, the same thing with the men. There's a lot of men that marry women. They be having like 10 million children all over the place, and then they have a wife that be working to try to repair and reattach those, reattach those children. But what happens is once he makes that reattachment, and that relationship is over between him and that wife, sometimes that relationship with the children go right out the window as well. So the whole thing is all turning back to deen has to be primary, like you mentioned early on. Has to be early on. These things have to happen. We have to uplift and change the situation, change the dynamics of our families. And our families ain't first and foremost. Not first and foremost. We'll emphasize on education because the schools are a way for parents to get a break. But we don't emphasize on our children, going to Jummah or praying, memorizing not just only the Fatiha. The Fatiha, a child that just knows only the Fatiha, that's just if somebody asked them, it's like almost like riyah, almost like showing off, right? If someone's to ask them, they'd be like, oh, he can recite Fatiha. You can't get content at bare minimum. You can't get content at bare minimum, right? So there has to be a push all the way around the board. It has to be a push, not only economically but also spiritually, and in a knowledge-based push as well. Our downfall is we don't have that push, and then in that direction that we need to go, and we're easy to quit. That's also another reason why we're taking L's the way we're taking L's. We quit. We're quitters, right? Now I'm not saying stick with a person that's absolutely sinful. But what I'm saying is we quit. We'll find the most minute thing wrong in order to cut out, and it kills a lot of our longevity. Saleh in the house. You must have heard us talking about you, Saleh.
Man, nah, man. I had to fix my little stuff up for my son, man. I had to get him A pack and play, man.
He cut.
Mashallah.
Why you didn't tell me you needed a pack and play, man? I got an extra one.
All right, well, bring it on down.
Need that packet play.
I got a diaper joint too, man.
Man, bring it on down when you get a chance. We can connect and you can bring it down. So what's up? What was the conversation about? What I missed out on, email Khalil?
Everything.
Come on, man.
You might just jump on in.
I don't know where he was at. What's going on? What you was talking about, Cletus?
We talking about everything. We just talking about the topic. The topic is about you still supposed to struggle after marriage. Are you?
And what Muhammad said? Are you still supposed to struggle?
Bro, we not about to give you no recap. We ain't giving you no recap, man.
Man, you got to give me a recap, man. See, I got validation, man. You can't get mad at somebody who's doing something for the kids.
Yo, when I know I ain't gonna be on time, I listen on YouTube. That's why I start trolling y'all. Y'all see me fucking trash. I make sure so I know when I get in, I ain't lost. You might as well go ahead and get on in on this segment.
All I want to know was your answer. What did you say? Should you still struggle? Yes, no.
I don't know. Ask the audience, the listening crowd. Somebody help Saleh out.
Hey, somebody help him out.
You know they're going to see y'all trying to see.
Because I said in the beginning that life is struggle, so we're gonna always struggle.
Exactly.
Somebody's device ain't working.
Well, you already know who that is. That's our shit.
Yo, Malik, listen, bro. I got a phone for you, man. You just gotta come up with that 150 every month, Playboy. I got you. Nice iPhone 13 Pro. What's up, man?
And it got service already.
Oh, you got the joint back, huh?
Nah, I got two. I ain't claim them yet. I got a Pro Max and I got the 13 Pro. Listen, man, I got kilos, man. I got kilos for sale, man. Just tell me how you want it: blue, green, purple, wrapped up, umbrella.
I got a 13 Pro Max with the antenna go in and out.
Is whatever you want to do, Malik, man. Let me know, man. You got 150 a month? I got you, Playboy. That's for insurance, the monthly cost, and your service. But Abu Muhammad, now what you say? You said, yeah, we still should struggle.
Life is struggle. We're gonna always struggle. I mean, we're gonna always struggle.
And let me guess, Imam Khalil say you should go out there and work 12 different jobs.
Hey, look, man. Deep down, I'm a Jamaican.
Even Khalil, I know he's Jamaican. He said you gotta work 13 jobs. I had 12 jobs by the time I was 15.
You lazy bum. You only got 3 jobs.
That's Imam Khalil. he probably said you had to work 40 million hours each job.
Hey, listen, bro.
That's what you.
I'm from a place where your annual income, your rent is higher than your annual income. You ain't got no time. You ain't got no time to sit around and chill. And if you ever know anything about a New York woman, she ain't even gonna let you. Yo, son, you been outside all week. I ain't seen you all week, and you ain't got no money, no bread.
That's why you ain't got a New York woman.
Got him.
I can't deal with all that other
got him. He got a Philadelphia. All I want to learn. You gotta teach me your dean. Teach me my dean.
I can't. My mind can't process. My mind can't process hearing from a woman SMD. And then something coming after that.
All that stuff is peripheral stuff. We don't even get upset about that. We just don't want to deal with that no more. The problem, the thing I can't deal with is a woman that will enable me to be lazy. Because if the woman lazy, she's not gonna make you ambitious. Long as y'all got a roof over your head, whether that roof got a hole in it, long as y'all got food, whether that food is good or not, she ain't worried about it. As long as you under her. I can't do that, bro.
Yeah, but you ain't answer the question though. What you say, brother?
It's motivation. You gotta be on your grind. You gotta be on your grind.
So should you still struggle? So should you still struggle when you're married? That's the question. You
want to struggle. You don't have no control over whether you're gonna struggle or not. But the thing is that you have to make moves in order to move to the next level. most of the time we complain about struggle because we ain't doing nothing to get out of that struggle. Only thing we're doing is complaining. We master complaining, but you know, we're novice when it comes to solution. So that's my position on it.
Okay. All right, now we got it. We got the answers.
But you still coming in, you know, asking questions, trying to probe the brothers in order to get a recap.
I already got the recap. I already got the recap that you worked 15.
You ain't low.
You work 15 million jobs from your end.
You ain't low.
What the bum big clock? You have 5 jobs. You have 5 jobs.
You gotta stay on your grind.
Nah, but for my answer, yes. You know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he clarified in the Quran. Right? But every hardship comes ease, so it's going to be hardship. You know what I mean? It's going to be ease with it, you know? So we just got to be prepared for the struggle. The problem is, we don't like going through things together. We have a tendency of letting somebody figure it out for us. And every time somebody figure it out for us, you know, it disconnect the unity in the family. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's one of the core problems of the West now, is that we don't know how to come from the bottom together. You might, like, prime example, if you see Snoop, you know, Snoop still has the same wife that when he had nothing. You know what I mean? And a lot of us, you know, feel as though when we have nothing and we have a woman that's there when we have nothing, when we do get something, we have a tendency of giving you the world. All that movie stuff y'all see, ladies. When y'all see all that movie stuff, all that, I was your lover and you suffered her, all that stuff, that's mainly fraudulent. That's movie stuff to intensify the movie. That he went out and did all this crazy stuff when he got on his feet.
There's a second part to the story though.
What's up?
A lot of men don't really go after women until they feel like they comfortable where they want to be at.
Ooh, the men, right?
Yeah, because sometimes you ain't got your thing together. You gonna endure the headache that come with it.
Exactly.
Or you're just gonna abandon it as soon as the trouble comes.
Some men is under the Scarface method. First you get the money, then you get the power, then you get the women.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the flip side to it. That is the flip side. You know, a lot of people say it though. I would love to see how the Ummah is, especially with this high turnover Zina culture. If every man waited until he had enough money to get a wife. See, I wonder how we about our sisters.
I'm underneath that. I'm underneath that. You know, the method of money making Mitch, man.
The Zina culture method is what fuels the multiple marriage stuff. You know what I'm saying? You marry a sister or marry a sister. She can't stay married to you more than a year. She marry a brother that he don't want to be married to her longer than a month. He want to taste his choice. You know what I mean? Instead of actually sticking it out and realizing that this is someone he really can't deal with, and his intention was really only to taste some coffee. You know what I'm saying? Have some coffee, as they say in New York. You know what I mean? You had coffee with him yet? And then he move on. You know what I'm saying? Or he married a sister, and he used her gullibility to juice her for whatever resources and finances that she have. And then he out. You know what I'm saying?
I never had the luxury of finding a gullible joint. I don't even know what that feels like, man. Why? Can y'all answer this to OGs, man? The OGs on here, man. Why do the narcissists kick the gullible ones, man? Is it like a thing like they, the narcissists attract them and they attract the narcissists? Like, is that a big thing? You think so?
I don't know, because a narcissist is a description of a person that you have to have a personal relationship in order to describe them like that. And people attract what they like. Period. They go after what they like. You know, women, the thing that women love now, whether it's consciously or subconsciously, they like the guy, they like the bad boy, because it shows a source of power. You ain't got no money, you ain't got that, but you got like, you fight well, or you seem tough or something of that nature. They'll incline towards that because it's a thing of power. Women are attracted to power. And so whatever power that she play, it may be the thing that attracts a woman, but there's no blame against her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's really it at the end of the day. We label people according, and a lot of times when we label them, it's according to how we viewed it, how we view it. Right? Now, if you label a person according to the dean, then that's a whole nother thing. You know what I mean? But how you label, like, you can see a person taking pandering and playing towards women. We usually call him what? A simp, right? And it's usually because he's taking some kind of moves in order to attract women. Then women do the same thing where they pander, and it may be what they're saying may be the truth, but we'll just automatically stamp them and label them that, and they label women pick me. She just being a pick me, he just being a simp, right? Sometimes it's rightfully attributed to the person, sometimes it's not. You know what I mean? I don't know what makes a woman attracted to a narcissist. You know, sometimes the women we pick are narcissists. So it's not just.
Give an example. Give an example of that. That's real right there. Give an example.
Remember, everything with a narcissist is all about them, right? And sometimes that's the same way with some men. You see them struggling. It ain't about. I'm not gonna be on a struggle bus with you, right? And when I'm saying not just be on a struggle bus, it's one thing if you have a lifestyle, and because a marriage is supposed to either maintain or improve your quality of lifestyle, right? Sometimes some situations it'll be a maintain or be an even kill. That narcissist individual ain't got time for that. I'm out. I wanted something better. You're not giving me what I want. And they make hurdles for you to jump, and it's still never good enough. That's on both ends of men and women, right? Now, but you have that other person where they don't enhance your quality of life. If you in a marriage and you still know the same two sorors you knew before you got married, and you've been married 15, 20 years, and you still at that same level, your quality of life hasn't improved. It hasn't changed anything.
Now, do you think marriage now is about Dean now? Because, like you just said, she only know two sorta.
People just use
it's more.
The attractive.
I think it's more about sex now, man. Because once the sex go, it seems like the marriage go.
It ain't even about sex because people are having sex without no marriage. They're having sex without feeling. There's no connection there. Women are just as empty on the inside as men now. So that's the reality. Matter of fact, women got so much like men. That's why when women peel out on a man, he's sitting there, like really butthurt, and she's laughing like, now y'all see how I feel, right? So that's that doesn't really move the relationship. The relationship is about growing Islamically, and then there's another aspect of it that many of us are forgetting about. Your family is part of the community. Your quality of life enhanced in your family is also going to mean an enhancement in the quality of life of the community. But when it's just about you and yours, then everything else don't matter. That's why when most people they get married, they divorce the Jamaat. They just go in the house, go in hiding, never come back out. Now you got a problem with every brother you used to be cool with, or you got a problem with every sister you was cool with. All of these things. This is what's happening, huh? The solution is Dean. And I know that's a generic to throw it under one umbrella. But like I said, when I started out, I said, one of the things that we don't do is we don't accept our reality, right? That's number one. Accept the reality you in. If you're a person you only making $15.50 an hour, then don't go and seek a 7-digit lifestyle, right? Number two, you have to become internalized. You have to purify your heart. You shouldn't be looking. You shouldn't be looking on the other people to get, with the eyes of envy. That's also play another problem. We got too many wandering eyes. The eyes are wandering. We want this person lifestyle, that person lifestyle, right? Most of us, we get upset if someone talks about music or television, but those are the things that are window. They use the vessels that make the window to the heart. The eyes is the window to the heart, and the ears is the listening instrument to the heart. then it influences that. What happens to the heart? The heart changes. The heart sways. You don't feel the same way no more as you used to, right? It plays a major effect. You know, the second thing, you gotta stop complaining about your situation. Oh, people that usually complain a lot, they usually don't have any type of motivation to change their situation. They just want to complain and they want a table spread to drop out of the sky for them. In a way, in your own way, that's a form of arrogance as well, right? So that's three problems we talked about. Number four, you gotta figure out a solution how you want it. You gotta have goals. Most people don't have goals for their family. Their biggest goal was to get married the first 3 nights, and that's it. What are you gonna do? You still want to stay in that apartment? You still want to live in that apartment with a hole in the roof, right? Do you want to change that situation? Do you want to be able to put your bed, on a frame instead of it being on the floor, right? You want to eat biryani versus eating noodles every night, right? Your short-term goals. Many people are deem it as dunya, but the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us one of the ni'mas, the blessings of this life, we should seek it, is to have a spacious home. We shouldn't want to live, we shouldn't want to live crammed in. These type of hadiths and things like that goes out of people's mind. Allah Ta'ala tell you to seek after seek out. Don't forget to get your portion of this dunya as well. These are things that we let that go out the mind. So it's all about like right now and what about this part? You can't compartmentalize your Islam. So that's four things that I mentioned. All four of those, and I know there's a lot of in between. But that was the solutions I offered.
Also a good dependable riding beast.
Good riding beast, and get you a good weapon. Get you a good chopper.
Yeah.
Get you a good weapon. Those are the three things. Oh, and also the Prophet ﷺ also mentioned how get you a wife, get you a fun loving young wife. Right. So this also.
Snap.
Hold on, we got a comment. Hold on, we got another comment before that. Wait, it ain't right if I skip this one. All right, so they said after divorce, life still goes on, and a lot of us has children and still had to push through the struggle to provide for them and ourselves. Absolutely, you know what? And sometimes I think, I don't know if that's a sister who said it or not. It doesn't matter, but I do say this. Sometimes each gender looks at each other's role differently, and they determine it being hard because who has the child, right? Who has the child? Having a child with very little resources is definitely a struggle, right?
Okay.
But I'll tell you the flip side to it though. There's a flip side. The one who don't have the child, unless they when you take them out of the lights, cameras, and action, bro, they got the lowest self-esteem of all people. They ain't taking care of their child.
Now, can I ask a question?
They ain't got money. They ain't got nowhere to live. They have to struggle. The struggle's the same, but you have to take care of it. You have extra mouths to feed. You have to look after somebody other than yourself. So yes, I see that. That's where the advantage is disproportionate. Now, go ahead.
I want to ask the question if that is a sister, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to talk with your heart, sister, if it is a sister. If a man is financially stable, your ex-husband is financially stable, and you have children, right? To eliminate the struggle that you're that you're in after the marriage, would you allow that man to have them children? And I want you to speak with your heart. I don't want you to tell me, what sounds good. Speak with your heart. If your ex-husband was financially stable, would you give him the children off of knowing your position in life, in his position in life? Would you allow him to have the children? I would love that answer. They said, "Yup." Some said, "Yup." How do you feel about that, y'all? Because a lot of times, people say, "Oh yeah, we have these children. I'm still struggling." It's really to keep, sometimes, I'm not saying everyone, what I seen growing up, in where the environment I live, the children are weaponized, right? They use them as a tool, as a weapon to get what you need. And normally it's really ain't about money. It's really about get back, right? And you could be, you put yourself in a hard position just for get back. right? Instead of saying, okay, he's this, he's that, I would love, my son to be raised around a man, a solid man. He's still a solid man, even though we went left. I'm going to allow my son to be raised by him. But someone said, just make it a hard time where the son can't see the dad for any type of reason. You get what I'm saying? So I really like to hear, see a lot of questions. One person said, yep. How many other people said, yep?
Nala, we see you. We see your name. We know it's you.
So what's this one right here? We allow social media to deceive us, and we sell other marriages on social media and start to dislike our own spouse for not being like the couple seen on social media. Absolutely. We even go as far as seeing a brother or a sister and on social media, they would display all the good things themselves. Then we find ourselves being ungrateful to our own current spouse. Absolutely. That's why I usually, there should be a certain level of privacy amongst families. A certain level of privacy. You shouldn't be on, social media, licking tongues, in your reels and stuff of that nature. A lot of people do that. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised at the envious heart.
Yeah.
Hey, I always look at social media being catfish. It's not like what it appears to be. I mean, so and a brother told me, said catfishing is when you is when you talking to you think you're talking to a woman when it's a man, or you think you're talking to a man when it's a woman.
That joint is basically you giving one perception and you getting another. Because the catfishing, the definition that joint has spread wider. It's a wider definition than what it used to be. So yeah, no, I mean sometimes like a person, they'll sell you, because really, honestly, the only thing we got is our word. Right? If you're talking to somebody in talks of marriage, and they're telling you they're gonna do A, B, C, and D, and they expect that from you, once you start falling apart, you're like, damn, I feel like I got played, because my whole philosophy based on what I was going to do was based on what you're telling me. You see what I'm saying? Like, sometimes this the other thing. That envy is a serious thing. Two things happen when you nowadays. What I notice is the trend with relationships. Remember back in the day, the trend used to be if you had a woman that you had a wife that made more money than you, right? 80% of the men felt inferior to her, and he wanted her to quit her job.
Right?
Hold on, I'm gonna tell you, that was real. As a matter of fact, I just recently one of the sisters on Wakila, she had to sit down with a brother. He had no house, no nothing, and he wanted her to quit her job. And so then when I asked him, I said, "So where y'all gonna live?" He's like, I don't know. We figured that out. So I was like, and then I talked to him. I was just like, basically, are you trying to see, like, is she willing to give up the job for you or something? Because I'm not understanding. You saying your economic situation ain't all that strong, but the first thing you in here barking and saying you want her to quit her job. So I'm just trying to make sense of this. She's willing to accept you as you is, right? But she's talking about she needs to quit. So I didn't understand that. What was the
I don't get that neither. Like, what happened to being player? Like, I don't know. I just grew up on a code. If your wife making that cheesy bread, or somebody you messing with making that cheesy, why would I be mad you making that cheesy bread? Because there's more cheesy bread coming into the crib than me.
Nah, there's a mentality that come with that money, beloved.
No, I'm just saying, no man should make a woman who's making money quit her job because he feels some type of way. To me, that's a sucker. That ain't player like. That's not a player. And I'm not, y'all, when I mean player, I don't mean like, somebody using people. I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean? Like, that ain't player. That ain't player. I mean, like, where are you making that bread? You go, girl. Like, what happened to these men that stand on that? Like, you know what I mean? Like, hey, my wife got that bread, boy.
A lot of that you go girl.
That's soft stuff.
There's a lot of negligence that come with that you go girl. There's a lot of emasculating talk that comes along with that. You go, girl. Trust me when I tell you.
We get that. We get that part. But what we're saying is that. But why? But we get that. But we saying we talking about the man. Why is the man acting like a sucker? That's a sucker. That's not thorough.
If he can maintain, hold on. If he can maintain that quality of life, and he's saying, "No, I don't think this is good. It's not good for your dean." None of that stuff. I applaud a man that's willing to take that on.
No, but you didn't say that. You said that the guy wanted her to quit her job.
No, that personal situation.
I'm talking about that man. I'm not talking about. I'm talking about that type of guy. That ain't player. That's what I'm saying. That ain't player, man. That ain't player.
That was all ego driven, Sheikh.
That ain't player. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that. That's some clowns. So that ain't player like. You know what I mean? That ain't player like. But normally, Imam Khalil, how we say it, man, they the ones who normally get those type of women. And I guess, if you're looking at it from your aspect, I'm playing devil's advocate now. I'm on your side that maybe she wants to build a bear. And like you said, it's stuff that come along with it. Maybe she's trying to build him to be who she wanted to be. It don't work like that. Just to put me on that side. You get what I'm saying? But I'm just saying in general, that ain't player. That ain't player.
I agree with what Amir Khalil said. It's a lot of, ego that come along with that. You know what I'm saying? You look at, it's been many occasions where I've made less money than the wife that I was married to. However, my drive and me putting in work, you could never tell that I made less money than her because I was always hustling. I was always hustling. I never cared about how much a wife made. I don't care.
That's what I'm talking about. So you on my side? That's what I'm saying.
She made less than me. What's most important to me is that what we're gonna establish together. I mean that's why I've always when I talk to a brother or they ask me about polygyny, I always tell them never take another wife that you have the idea that she may take from what you and your initial wife already built.
Say that one more time, just in case there's a particular person listening.
Never take another wife that's gonna take from what you and your current wife has already built.
Qualify that statement, brother. What you mean? Give me an example.
give you and your. I'm gonna use myself as an example. Me and an ex-wife that I had, we had us together. We had built the income over 6 figures. I married a wife that had the possibility of adding to it, but instead was taken from it instead of adding to it.
Now let me ask you this: What do you expect her to come in with? Because everybody ain't gonna be equal on financially.
Drive, hard work, probably drive.
Come in with the possibility of building in our program, not taking from it.
See this. All right, so look, this
coming in selfless instead of selfish.
So you looking for her to invest in whatever y'all doing.
Exactly. Because
financially,
whatever we're doing is for us as a whole, not
financially.
Just,
well, would it be financially? Because you had mentioned. Only reason why I'm saying that because you mentioned
financially, socially.
So basically, when you marry in the beginning, you're gonna start asking her about her income then.
No, I'm gonna ask her about how she is with her children. Because they come into a marriage with me, they're gonna be dealing with children. They're gonna be dealing with children. I'm gonna be dealing with her children if she bring them with her.
No. The reason why I'm asking because you have mentioned 6 figures.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. So I'm thinking like you saying she ain't fit in because of the money aspect. You just talking about as a whole because every woman ain't coming in with the same qualities and characteristics. Every wife, well, I mean, some people do. They get a cookie cutter wife, but every woman has her own characteristics about herself. You know what I mean? You're the CEO, and the wives make up the board. You know what I mean? So each one of them got their strengths and weaknesses. But if me and my wife started a business and I married someone else, that ain't really her business unless she's an employee or she's invested in that business. But how she could help in other areas, maybe some other things, like you said, maybe with the children or something of that nature. You know what I mean? But she played that part. You know what I mean? But that's why I asked you that to make it clear for people, because you know it'll be the narrative after this. People be blocking you, talking about they don't like you because Muhammad said if you can't put in no money with that $6 that we already got, that I ain't with you.
I'm gonna put it in this perspective. If I'm a father. So if I marry a woman that has children that's not mine, I'm a father, not a stepfather. You follow me? So if I have children, and eventually you're gonna have to deal with my children, I expect you to have the same type of quality of being a mother, not a stepmother.
Right.
Many of us can't embrace that concept.
Now here go the question. It ain't for y'all, right? Because that's a real touchy topic right there, and that's where a lot of us lack, right? Because even being a parent, right? A step parent get overseen, man. They get overwatched. Like you come into a marriage. What happened, man? What happened?
I'm listening. I'm just reading the question. I'm gonna put it up there.
Hold on, but
I see the question too.
Now here it go. Now when people get into marriages, right?
That's what I'm laughing at. I'm not laughing at the question. I'm laughing at the term.
Now, the question would be is like how are you expecting that new spouse to come in, dealing with their parents, because with the step parent, because a lot of times the stepfather goes through a lot more hell than an average stepmother would be, or would have to.
I don't know,
right?
Man. I don't know
might
about
be the
that.
same, man.
Listen.
Hold on. I'm gonna tell you the only advantage that a stepfather got. I'm gonna tell you, if the pops is a deadbeat, he ain't involved. You ain't got to worry about his outside interference.
I'm not talking. See, that's why I say y'all gotta let me land. Y'all gotta let me land first.
It takes a
marriage, and he has a current wife. Them children could be influenced by his ex-wife to give his current wife hell.
It take a special type of woman to deal with some Ameen kids. I tell you.
But this is what I'm saying to you. This is what I'm trying to land at, because it's a lot of times, right? A man would check his children if his wife was being disrespected by their children. Majority, I'm talking about if a man is put in that position. Okay. A man is going to check that. Right. Majority of the time in our communities, the women defend the child regardless if the child is wrong or right. And we could go with statistics on how the community is ran. If a child out here is throwing rocks at a window and breaks the window, the mass majority of the parents will say, a person can't go up to like, yo, your child do this right here. They would defend their child breaking that window in this culture now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And why I'm saying that is that a man, if he say, yo, your child is disrespecting me, it will normally fall normally. I'm not saying that the times where the woman didn't listen to the parents when the child was being molested or that type of. I'm not talking about them incidents, because that's rare too. It happens, but it's not on a high level, right? Majority of the time coming into our communities, when a man says, look, your child is disrespecting me, she would choose that child's side over that man. And the child, and then especially for a boy would disrespect a step pop. You ain't my father, nigga. Excuse my French, y'all. Say that to him all the time.
Well, you get that with stepchildren and mothers. Like you said,
but majority of the time, a man is going to check that, though. Yeah, a man is going to check that.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? But normally, our women protect their sons. You get what I'm saying? Protect their sons. And this is a big thing. Abu Muhammad put it in the joint where this woman was talking about, I'm his first love. I'm this. And this is where a lot of these young women are adopting now. Their sons is damn near like their boyfriends.
Son husbands.
There you go. And this is way more common than anything else.
Well, he can't leave her. That's why. She has anxiety, separation anxiety. He can't leave her. See, the man,
he can't provide no 4Ps for neither.
No, he can't. But the bottom line is he can't leave her. So she doesn't mind that. You understand what I'm saying? It's just some of the terms we use. There's nothing wrong with expressing the love that you have for your child. It's the terms that we use. And then sometimes the women they have an extremely extended days of not having a spouse. But hold on, let's get to this question right here. So in the case with you and your wife having a business and you decide to get a mother wife, you using your portion to take care of that second wife, right? But, before I step back, if I got a business, that money I make is my money. If I get 2 more wives, that's my business. I'm not telling my wife, I need you to give me half your cut. No, we're gonna take it out of the portion of my particular money. You understand what I'm saying? So that's the only thing I can see. If you decide to give your wife, which you should, if your wife is helping you out, whatever you can to show your appreciation, doesn't always mean you got to give her money, but give her something towards to show that gratification. And if it means a cut a check.
But what if the wife invested? What if one of the wives invested into the business?
I don't care if she invested in the business. You my business partner or you not. If me and you doing business and you get another wife, is that my problem? She got to mind her business. We give our wives too much say so over our other households. Mind your business.
I'm just saying. All right. Repeat that one more time, just in case another particular person is listening too. So if the wife is so say if you are Imam Khalil, let's say he sells whatever, he's a merchant, he has a store, right? She invested in the store, right?
Yeah.
She invested in your store, and you want to bring another wife in, right? So your money is your money, and it shouldn't matter no matter what, even if she invested into your company.
Even if she bought in the company, it's a business. The same way you bought in, I could buy you out.
Okay.
Same way you bought in, I could buy you out. You putting in the business ain't got nothing to do with whether I'm gonna take another wife or not.
Okay.
That's why my life and my business are two different things. Either we gonna work together as business partners, because if that's the case, if that's what makes it a standard, then men shouldn't go in business with their wives at all.
I'm with you. I'm listening.
Let me see here. All right. I'm laughing because of the whole mother wife. I detected a little facetiousness in that title, the mother wife. No, it's not just your business. We're talking about it being you and your wife business, and you take on another wife. I think I just said that. Me taking another wife ain't got nothing to do with the business. It's my provisions that I'm providing for my family. So,
a lot of times, man, when our women are scared, man, especially the women that come from the trenches, because a lot of our women come from the same environment as us, right? A lot of times our women are so used to filth, and when we get something good, like I had a she married,
ex-wife. I'll just read the comment. She didn't mean to say mother wife. She meant to say another wife.
Right. So, so I had an ex-wife, right, where she had a problem with me getting getting a co-wife, but she married after we got divorced, she married a stone cold weirdo and shared him 10 times.
Some people deal with it.
I mean, shared him 10 times, and it's normally, that's what I'm saying. Normally, is that we're not used to having something good. So when something good come in our life, we feel as though we let something else come in is going to take it away from us, and that's not the case all the time. That's not the case.
This is one advice I would give a lot of sisters, because the type of man that they dream about, he does require certain things from you. A man is supposed to make you step your game up. If you got a man that don't make you want to be better, then you ain't really got nobody good for you. If you remain the same, like a lot of people, you talk to the average person, don't nobody walk around, mashallah, I'm the most righteous person. Even the most righteous person think that they're the worst person. Umar ibn Khattab used to follow Hudayfa around and ask him, "Am I a munafiq?" So don't nobody walk around like, "Yo, I'm the Saleh of the Saleheens," right?
Shake or shake does.
Ain't nobody. I'm gonna shake that booty. Ain't nobody walking around saying that. So if
Shake does. Yeah.
if you have somebody that makes you step your game up, he's supposed to make you a better quality, and he got to make you feel like no other woman exists, even if he has 4 wives, right? If he can't lay that game down like that, then you ain't got nobody that's going to make you enhance. You're supposed to be better. When you go back around the way, they supposed to be like, "Damn, Sharquisha, we ain't seen you in a minute." Oh, you actually
Sharquisha?
Because nobody ever call you by your attribute. They always call you by your dunya.
Sharquisha?
You know what I'm saying? Yo, Pookie, come here, Pookie. Now you wearing all that hot velvet. Girl, you hot under there, right? And then meanwhile, as soon as you start talking, you still talking that same rhetoric that you used to talk back in your jahiliyyah. Right, but if you got a husband now, and he's enhancing you, you know what I'm saying? You want to practice shyness. You ain't trying to be out there with your form fitting garments on. You know what I mean?
30. I just popped a perk 30.
You don't want to be all that driving down the street with your music knocking and your kids hanging out the window, out your what's that joint? The baby mama car, Muhammad. The Nissan Altima?
No, Chevy Impala.
The Chevy Impala. That's if you got 5 kids. If you got 5 kids, you usually drive an Impala because they kind of big. But if you got 2 or 3 kids, you usually drive an Altima. But anyway, I digress. The man is enhancing you, and you got to learn how to deal with that. Any woman that's advising you, don't let no man tell you what to do. That's not a woman to be listened to, because.
But also, you should want to be better for that man and yourself too.
He's supposed to be in a better predicament, a better predicament than you're already in to make you better. So why wouldn't you listen to him? You see what I'm saying? So usually that type of mentality, you know what I mean? Eventually, you gotta move on. You gotta enhance. Even with friends, after a certain point where you hit with friendship, if they're not encouraging you to do better, you're gonna have to step outside that realm in order to move forward, or else you're always gonna remain behind. You know what I'm saying? Why is it always that somebody who gets rich, whether it be through employment or through entertainment, whether it become a sports player or something like that, why does he always have to give bay'ah to the people he grew up with? I ain't gonna let this change me. No, you are gonna change. You're not gonna eat the same food that they eat. Meek Mills don't even eat the same meal. Be like, yo, now we got lobster in that ramen. Ain't nobody eating the same food. You're not gonna be it. You're definitely gonna change. Right?
You ain't coming back to the hood no more.
That's a big problem.
Ex-con what happened to him when he came back to the hood.
Bro, I'm telling you, people always make you give that bay'ah. Yo, all right, when you get out of prison, you want to stay out of prison? You're not going back around the hood like that. You know how many people go to jail for doing nothing but just being around the way? Or your parole officer, like, yo, I heard, matter of fact, your name just ran through the system the other day. Yeah, I'm gonna have to take you in because you're not supposed to have police contact. You want to avoid everybody. So why is it when we become Muslim, we still trying to keep going to the 4th of July barbecues, Labor Day celebration, all of those things that's happening, we always still trying to show we still down. That's the problem. And it plays a toll on our families. Sometimes our mother is the worst, our mother-in-law is the worst advisor to our wives. And the same thing, vice versa. Sometimes you got the husband, he's such a mama's boy. Mom Dukes don't want his wife to basically take her spot. And so she advising her, advising him to leave her everything she do. Right? So, man, you're supposed to, when you get married, it should be about y'all and the improvement and the betterment of the family. And if you consider your children part of your family, then that same respect you're going to show that man, your children need to be on that same wave as well.
Perk 30. I just popped up perk 30. Man, you gotta do the perky dance. You make your wife feel special, do the perky dance. But now you're right.
Gator.
Money, what does it say?
Money's supposed to change you, but not change you if you get what I'm saying.
No, you're right. But your quality of life is definitely going to change. Like I said, we used to eat ramen together, but now we eating it with lobster. So me and you just break bread together. We eating ramen. When you come to my crib, we're going to have lobster up in that junk. Lifestyle changes. It's all about maturation. That's why when people get back together, they with women. What's one of the characteristics of women when they ain't seen each other in a while? They married off, and their husband doing this, that, and the third. What's the first thing they get together and start talking about? They kids, what they husband,
they husband,
what school they kids is going to, accomplishments of their children, and stuff like that. That's not the one up each other. I mean, don't get me wrong, you do got some wicked people that's like that. That's not the one up each other, but that's just life. That's the quality of life. What's going on with you, girl? What you been doing? Oh, I'm still with Joe Bruiser. He's still knocking the hell out of it. But usually she ain't the one offering information. It's usually the one that's in contact with her. Like, yo, Sharquisha's still with Joe Bruiser. That boy's still knocking upside the head. Girl, you been with him since the 6th grade. He's still beating your mind. Right? You're supposed to have your quality of life is supposed to change. And we have to begin to think like this. If we don't think like this, you're not going to see a change in our families. And if that means being patient. And another solution, make dua for the type of man you want. Make dua for that person or the type of woman you want. Make dua for it. Because there's nothing that the believer don't do where they don't put Allah Ta'ala in it. Right? When we take Allah out of the equation, sometimes this is what you get. You get the rubble. Or what's that fancy word? The scruffler.
Hey, look. Let me explain something to you. You can ask Allah Subhanahu wa Taala for the type of man that you want, all you want. You can ask Allah Subhanahu wa Taala for the type of woman you want, all you want. But Allah Ta'ala gonna answer the dua all the time, but He's also gonna add some extra exquisite stuff that you had no idea was gonna be your part of the package, and that is gonna be your test. That is gonna be a test. I bear witness to it. You know what I'm saying? Something is gonna annoy the hell out of you, but because of all of the good that Allah Ta'ala has blessed you with from answering your dua, you're gonna be able to deal with that stuff, with the extra stuff.
No.
I mean that good is what is that appreciation. And that graciousness is what's going to get you through it.
Mm-hmm.
So subhanallah.
Any more of these nice, beautiful questions for us?
Or comments. I love these comments though. Our sister, sister going in, Jack.
Whoever Facebook user said, I don't care if it was a mistake or not. You get the solution medal of the day. The medal of the day was mother wife. Well, you got something to say? Come on, bring it. I'm sure the good brothers will be willing to answer or entertain the questions or comments.
Hey, I got a lot to say. Well, come on, keep it coming in. What's on your mind?
Mother wife is epic, though. That was epic.
Yeah. Not Nala, you get the badge for that.
What Nala is that?
Abdul Kabir wife.
Oh, okay.
She get the badge for that, Jack.
Oh man, subhanallah. Oh man. Well, if there ain't no comments,
somebody just came in. Somebody just said something. Hold up.
They say I'm gonna save it for 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
They're gonna save it for 2 weeks. For next week, I should say. Inshallah.
So what's the solution to get you, Khalil? Give it to us one more time.
Solution, subhanallah. Solution number 1, accept our reality. Right? Accept our reality, what it is. That doesn't mean that you're gonna stay there. Allah Ta'ala is in control. This thing is it's really a thing of our inward rectification of our heart. When you live life based on doubt, usually there's something that affected you that make you not want to believe or embrace, a better reality. right? Like for instance, like a person who might have got robbed down a dark alley, you never want to walk down another alley again in your life. But what's the chances of you getting robbed? It doesn't even matter to you no more because of that thing you no longer trust. You live in doubt now, right? But with our situation, we gotta accept our reality. We can't be out here, living, and living off a $50,000 salary and trying to live a 7-digit lifestyle. You can't do it. It doesn't make sense. Or as
That
they
mean you gotta fly Frontier and Spirit once in a while,
oh no, it ain't even that. You just looking for deals. Priceline.com.
huh?
Yeah, Priceline.com got the super deals. That and Expedia.
You know what I mean? So, you got that. Number two, you got to get the hustle. You recognize that you got to have a plan because nobody's situation ever stays the same. So that means you're looking for a way to excel. Whatever.
So far the best deals is Southwest, man. I gotta give it to them. Southwest.
That's what you say this time, man. Ain't nobody paying you no mind, man. Because if American give you a deal, you be like, America's the best one. Everybody got deals that go up and down. Frontier be popping. Matter of fact, Frontier is the school bus. That joint Scepter. You know what I'm saying? They always got a deal. Southwest, they do its thing every once in a while. That's like an Amtrak joint.
Yeah, but every time you book a flight, you own flyer points, man. So alhamdulillah.
You do the same thing.
I earn flyer points on Frontier. What you saying? Plus, I spent a couple dollars to be able to keep earning it.
Yeah, you spent a couple of dollars. You know what I mean?
I was a couple of dollars. But hey, I got the plug for everybody though. Yeah, I mean, I got 9 people. We get discounts. So anybody want to go somewhere? Let's just stroll out. You hear? But that's real though, man. That's real, Khalil. And we got to stop looking at struggle as if it's the end all be all. That sometimes it could be a test from Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala.
Right.
And we
it is. It's what makes you. It makes you who you are.
Right.
Because you got money, you also tested too by how much you giving.
I say it all the time. I want to be comfortable. I don't want to be super rich. I don't know how I would be with super rich. I might put some money on somebody's hand.
I just want to be
that old me would come out. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That old me might come out. He said, "What?"
That contentment is with a lot or a little. That's where you find your peace at. You know what I mean? I could tell you that as being an ex-drug dealer. One of the conversations I had with myself when I knew I was about to get released out of prison. How the hell I'm gonna survive without hustling? I had to ask myself 1,000 times that. Then I realized that my biggest vice was I was always used to having money. I could make everything happen. Nobody had to worry about nothing. Just come to me, I got you. You know what I'm saying? I had to realize I couldn't be that person. Not on that particular level.
Hey, look, one of my biggest tests coming home off my first bit was not accepting them 2 keys on consignment to get back out there.
Yeah. I embrace struggle. I don't know if it's a good thing, but it got a lot harder during the struggle. Embracing struggle is actually the test while you're struggling is maintaining, being content. You know what most of us translate the word sabr as? We translate it as patience. Sabr is actually not crossing the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala during an affliction. That's what sabr is. Because when that thing hits, your reaction tells you where you at. When that problem that you're facing, when it hits, your reaction determines on where you at with it. That's how most people do. I wasn't like that kind of person. I wasn't like a street kid and nothing like that. I was actually brought up in a church environment, right? I mean, our situation of poverty, as I got older, I started realizing like, damn, we ain't got no bread. We live in the projects just like everybody else. You know what I'm saying? How am I get this? Oh, my people's lost their job. So I went out there and figured out. My situation wasn't to remain that way. See, if I was thinking that way and remain that way, trying to have that real ninja mentality, I would have stayed where I was at. But that wasn't where I was at. and I got to a certain point, like, yo, there's something bigger than me and greater than me. I gotta embrace that. That's how I ended up becoming Muslim. And once I became Muslim, I turned my back and never looked back. You know what I mean? Because that wasn't the things that you got to do in order to get money, make money, and stuff like that. That's not a good look. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things I've done in life that I'm remorseful of. You know what I'm saying? Wish I never had to encounter those type of things. Because you'll switch from a very loving and caring individual to a grimy individual, and switch that quick. You know, this is why one things I don't entertain with my wives or even like friends. I don't argue over money. I've done a lot of things that was bad in order to get money, and a lot of friendships and relationships end over money. So I know the effects that it have on people. So now, say your immediate reaction when faced with a hardship shows your level of sabr. Now, it just shows where you at. Because if your iman is strong, your reaction to it is like, oh, Allah Ta'ala is testing me.
Not only that,
Allah
but
Ta'ala is bringing me closer to Him by means of
one perspective about sabr that we fail to ignore a lot of times is that sabr is also not complaining about it, not complaining about the hardship that Allah Ta'ala tests you with to anyone, and enduring it with contentment. That's sabr on Jamil, that you don't complain about it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you fight, you tough it out, you fight it out. That's why when Abu Salama and he was with the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and he taught him that dua, he immediately went home and taught Salama the same dua. When Abu Salama returned to Allah, Salama recited that dua, and she asked herself a rhetorical question: what good is going to come after Abu Salama? After her waiting period, she had a knock on the door, and the Prophet ﷺ was at the door, wanting to marry her. You know, so you know it's enduring it and not complaining about it. That's true sabr.
No.
And that dua, that's a heavy, powerful dua, because you make this dua when you have a musibah, like say you get into a car accident, or or someone that's very close to you dies. But how I look at that dua is any type of musibah, even if it does not have anything to do with a car accident or someone dying. It's the effect of the trial of your mental that is gonna hold on you. That's how I look at it. So a lot of times I make that dua every time my wife asks me for a divorce. I say the dua. She straighten up after that.
No. Well, I'm on a lot of solutions, everybody.
All right, well,
my name is Abdullahi, and I say good night, Brother Muhammad.
All right, don't
take us home.
Everyone, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel if you have not. Hit the notification bell if you're watching us on YouTube. Watching us on Facebook, please like the video. Please like the podcast. Share it to your platform, and follow the group. I mean, if you're not already in the Tajdeed Sunnah Facebook group, or the Master Uthman Denfolio Tajdeed Sunnah Facebook group, you know what I'm saying? Like the group, you know what I'm saying? Like the page, and inshallah ta'ala, everyone will
also don't forget to donate, man. Imam Khalil called me and said he need a MacBook Pro. He said he wanted a MacBook Pro, y'all. He said he needed it for school. You know, he's trying to be a legit pharmacist. You know what I mean? Also, Abu Muhammad said he wanted. I think he said he wanted. What you wanted, Abu Muhammad?
I'm cool.
I still need my S Pen. I've been asking for an S Pen for the past year and a half. If he's one of these begging imams, man, we would have been got our S Pens and our laptops and stuff like that. So donate.
Yo, Muhammad, they asked, what's the dua, beloved?
Oh.
What's the dua, beloved?
What's the dua? I know who asked that question. The dua is inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Allahumma awjirni li musibati akhlif li khayru minha.
Alhamdulillah. They probably gonna want you to write it in the chat later, so you know.
Inshallah, I'll write it in the chat later. Inshallah.
Alhamdulillah. Anything else?
Well, that's it. We out of here.
All right. Subhanaka Allahumma bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد عبدك ونبيك ورسولك نبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه وأزواجه وذرياته وأهل بيته بحر أنوارك ومعادن أسرارك ولسان هجاتك وعروس مملكاتك وخزائن رحمتك وطريق شريعاتك متلدد بمشاهداتك إنسان عين وجود وسباب في كل موجود عين أعيان خلقك مكبس من نور ضيائك صلاة تاهل بها أقداتنا وتفرج بها كربتنا وتقضي بها حاجتنا صلاة طاردك وطارده وطرد بها رب العالم يا رب العالمين عدد ما أحاط به علمك وأحسه كتابك واجتهدت به ملائكاتك وقطع به قلمك عدد أكثر وأمتر وأشتر وأحضر وملائكات جبار وعدد ما خلق مولانا من أول الزمان وإلى ذاكر الزمان وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما عدد ما في علمك مضاعفا بدوامك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Yo, we gotta let Abu Muhammad, man, he make some more the conversation. We got a good dua today. You hear me, man, Khalil?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, you need to make more of the topics, man. You went in, man. All right, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.